for live. And we are live on YouTube. Yes. Perfect. Wow. What a lovely day. Welcome, my friends. Welcome back. I'm Faraz Shaikh. Sorry for my voice today. I'm just a little bit not keeping well. I'm just having a little cough and cold, but we have a very lovely guest over here. Yes. Today. Perfect. I think I'm hearing my echo somewhere. Wow. What a lovely day. Welcome. Oh, sorry, that was another screen silence. So let us start it again, my friends. Welcome back. I'm Faraz Sheikh from Saudi Arabia, your host and host for today. And today we are here with our guest on the hot seat. I'll shortly introduce to her. But sorry for my bad throat voice because I'm not keeping well from a couple of days. And I can't miss this lovely meetup. So I always like to make sure that the show must go on. So Pragati also told me that first, don't worry, the show must go on. So let me just quickly share a short presentation and let's fire up this meetup. Okay, so here we go. And here we are. So I hope you can see my PowerPoint screen.
Yes, can see that. Yeah.
Perfect. So most of you guys, you know me. I'm Faraz Sheikh, founder of Excel Exciting, and I'm MVP and then Microsoft certified trainer, innovative educator, and I run blogs and meetup. So my mission with my friends over here, I call them Avengers. Like they come and they save us from all the tech tricks, and they show us and where we can compete ourselves in the work and stand out. So I call every speaker, every MVP, everybody in the community who comes and contribute to the community as an Avenger. So my passion is always like share and gain the knowledge on Microsoft Office applications. I love talking on Power Automate, Power Apps, and Excel Office scripts and other technology. And that's all about me. And I will quickly like to thank all the speakers for Meetup 2022 for making this Saudi Arabia Meetup an amazing place, a knowledge hub. To all the speakers who have been coming and contributing to this one. And by the way, we did My Data Summit along with Elgar, my friend, and that was a massive event. We have Pragati also was there. We hit around like more than 400 participants over there, and that was from morning 9 till evening 9 o'clock. So that was a massive knowledge hub that was shared on month of September. So thank you, everybody, every speakers over for that as well. So from the community, my friends, I welcome you, encourage you that you please come and speak forward. Anything you would like to talk about, Microsoft Office, Power Platform, Azure, anything you feel like sharing it to the community, you can write back to me on excelexciting@outlook.com and I'll be get in touch with you. Just a quick housekeeping, most of you know, but just to let you know that this session is being live streamed right now and getting recorded, and the recording will be available on the YouTube. And that would be on YouTube/Excel Exciting. So you can always go and refer the session back again. So now it's time for the lovely lady on the hot seat over there in UK. I wish she was here, so I could have gifted her some bouquet, but no problem. We can give her emojis bouquet. So that would work out. Welcome, Pragati. Pragati is an Microsoft Data Power Platform MVP. I've been knowing Pragati through her blogs and her sessions she has been delivering. We worked together on My Data Summit. She was a part of My Data Summit. And on special request, she's here and she's inaugurating 2023 meetup, the first meetup for Microsoft Saudi Arabia in 2023. So Pragati, I'll now not speak much. I'll leave the floor for you, so you can just introduce about yourself and you can go ahead with the session, please.
So first of all, hi Faraz. Thank you for inviting me, to your amazing user group. I'm just thinking like, why didn't speak for your user group in last 2 years? Because I have been, in connection with you for some time now. So yeah, thank you for inviting me finally here. So guys, I already know Faraz for a long time. So it just doesn't feel like I'm meeting him for the first time and speaking him for the first time for his user group. But yeah, thanks for inviting me. And yeah, please do take care. Your throat really needs something because we really want your actual voice back. So yeah, I mean, and the other thing is, I'm actually starting my 2023 speaking engagement with your user group. So thanks again for giving me that platform. And hopefully the whole 2023 goes well like last year. So yeah, thanks. This is the first ever session I'm delivering for 2023. So should I share my screen then?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead, Pragati.
1 second. Let me do some settings on Zoom. Actually, Zoom is always a mystery for me. I end up doing something wrong always, but hopefully not this time.
No, not this time.
Okay. How this goes up? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Participants can see my screen. Okay. Okay, so let's just start. I mean, first of all, thank you everyone for joining at this hour. I'm sure everyone is joining from different parts of the world. So thank you so much for coming to attend this session of mine. So today I'll be talking about learn to visualize using DAX tricks in Power BI. So before I start talking about the session today, let's just give talk about myself. I would just like to give a little bit introduction about myself, as I'm just for the first time here at the Faraz Meetup group. So my name is Pragati Jain, and I am a Microsoft Data Platform MVP, as Faraz introduced. I'm also one of the super user at Microsoft Power BI community. So those who don't know about Microsoft Power BI community, it is an amazing platform where you can learn a lot about Power BI. So if you are new to it, or I mean, if you really want to learn Power BI, or you are already an expert, but do go and join that community, because I have learned 70% of Power BI from that community, because that is an amazing platform. You have people just writing about Power BI a lot, posting about so many questions about Power BI, and then you see amazing solutions different, forum members are posting there. So definitely do it. Go and join Microsoft Power BI community. I have got nearly 10 plus years of industry experience, and currently I'm working as an analytics manager at Avanade here in London. Apart from that, I'm also organizer at Data Weekender Conference. We had our last Data Weekender Conference in 2022 May. We are working on for the conference for this year. So soon you'll see some kind of notification around that, like when this conference is going to be happening this year. Then apart from that, I also manage Microsoft Power BI UK user group. So it's a user group where we promote speakers who want to talk about, Microsoft Power BI technology. So if any of you guys are, whether you're an experienced speaker or you're a newcomer speaker and you want a platform to talk about Power BI, to share your knowledge, then definitely reach out to me. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, or I've got my own YouTube channel, blog. I mean, you can reach out to me from social networking website for sure. And yeah, I'll be sharing this deck, so you'll get on my socials there. And then one fun fact about me is I am a painter as well. So I just like to proudly call myself techie artist. I just like to do some kind of artistic things when I have some time free apart from just Power BI. So yeah, I just do that as part of my hobby. Okay, so that was a quick introduction about me. Okay, Ilgar is waiting. So today's agenda. I'm not sure if any of you guys have attended my sessions before, but every time when I start my session, I always have an agenda before I start anything. So in today's session, I'll be talking about few of my favorite, DAX tricks, which can actually, add a lot to your visualization and overcome some of the visualization limitations as well. Now, those who of you have worked with Power BI, like Power BI is a pretty strong tool when it comes to visualization. But sometimes there are certain limitations on different visuals, which, sometimes just doesn't allow you to achieve few things. So when you have things like, DAX expressions or calculations in Power BI. So in today's session, we'll just see how we can, really leverage the benefit of these simple measure calculations, to just bring our visuals to some next level by adding more insight or, just making the visuals more rich. So again, one more thing, today, I'm not teaching you DAX. I'm focusing more around how you can turn your visuals into something else using DAX expression. I'll be giving an overview around DAX expression, but definitely I'll not be telling that into detail, but I'll be showing you more around how you can use them to, create your visuals in a different way that they had been. So let's just start cracking. So this is just a one slide thing today. I'll be showing you most of the stuff in Power BI practically. So let's just start. Okay, so I will be just changing my screen. Okay, so this is Power BI desktop. And yeah, Faraz, if while I'm going through the session, and if you think there are any questions, then, definitely let me know. I'm happy to take questions as we go along. That's how I want the session to go. So let me know if there are any questions.
Sure.
Is there a way I can remove this top bar in Zoom?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's fine.
I would say that's the beauty of Zoom.
That's the beauty of Zone. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. No problem. Okay, so let's start with first use case where I'll be showing you. I'll be also speaking little slow today because I have got little cold. But yeah, let me know if my voice cracks. Okay. So the first use case that I'll be showing you about will be how to dynamically change the data points, the color of the data points on a line chart above and below an average line. Now, before that, let's just create a simple chart. And I've got a very simple data, okay, nothing to worry about. It's a very simple sales data I got online, which was publicly available. And if you see, and I just, got that data down to a very smaller size because this session is more focused around showing the capabilities of using DAX expressions within a Power BI visual rather than the data size and how to handle a larger data. So I just brought down my data. So this is the simple sales data I'll be using where you can see like for different dates, I've got certain sales values. That's it basically, right? So we'll be just playing around with 2 columns or 3 columns maximum to create some visualizations today. So let's first try to create some kind of, chart. Then only we'll be trying to apply the next step, right? So first thing what I'll do is, let's create a line chart where I would be plotting my sales over time, okay? So obviously I go to my sales data. I have my date column, so I put it on the x-axis because I want to plot my sales over time. I have got, and I'm representing my date as the date rather than taking it as a date hierarchy. Can someone please mute themselves if they are unmuted? Thank you so much. And what I'll do is I'll move my sales here. Okay, so now it's a simple line chart. It shows me sales over time, right? If I hover over it, then I see certain point. Okay, that works fine. That was simple, easy enough for us to do. Now the next thing. In Power BI, there are ways of representing average values. Okay. Now in this trick, I'm going to show about like if on a chart you have an average line, then how to color code any data point above that average line with a different color and below that average line with a different color. So to do that, first we need an average line on this chart, right? So let's create a monthly average sales line on this chart. Now in Power BI, you have got a good capability. You don't need to create anything, any calculation. If you go into select your chart, go to the analytics pane, you have got different kinds of trend lines you can add to a chart. Now, in my case, I want to add an average line on the sales measure, sales value that I have added. So I'll just add an average line and I'll just try to give it like average sales as the naming convention. So it kind of adds an average line on my chart. Okay. Now, obviously, that line is pretty much of the same color. So let me just change the color of my line so I can see it differently. So yeah, and I'll make it a little bold as well. And what I'll do is I'll add a label to my line so I can see what is the average value. Okay. And I'll also give that label the same color. So I know, okay, I'm looking at the monthly averages. And I'll put the position on the right so that I see this here. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have a capability to change the size of the data label. So it's fine, but it kind of indicates and tells us, okay, this is the average sales that we can see over time in this entire data set. Okay. Now in line chart, when you go to formatting options, there's something called markers. Okay. When you switch on markers, you start seeing these kind of markers at different time on the x-axis. So like, for example, on 1st April, you saw this much sales. Then if you move down, then on 1st Jan, you saw this much sale and so on. And then you can see these kind of bubbles, bold bubbles comes up, which are the markers. And you can, change the marker shape if you want. Let's keep it this way. It's fine. But our main task is we need to, somehow color code these data points above and below this average line with a different color. So like, for example, if any sales for that particular point in time is above my average, then I need to color them as green. And if anything is below this average line, I want to color them as red. Now, how we do that? Now, those who have worked with Power BI, they already know there's something called conditional formatting in Power BI, which kind of, allows you to give these kind of different colors or play around with dynamic colors using this functionality. But unfortunately, when you create a line chart, you actually don't get anything like, to apply conditional formatting. Okay. Now there's a small, hack to it, how you can do that. Now, if I go to my visual section, and if I just convert this line chart to a clustered column chart, let's do that. Okay. I end up seeing a different chart with some different average value. Okay. But if I go to the formatting option of this chart, I actually end up seeing a function icon, which allows me to apply conditional formatting on this chart. Now, remember that in the line chart, this capability is not given, but on this kind of visual, you have that capability. So let's see how we do this, okay? But we'll get back to the line chart. Don't worry, we'll not have this clustered column chart. We'll go back to the line chart in the end. Now, obviously, when I talk about I want to color codes anything above my average sales with green and anything below that red, then I need to get something like average sales first. So I can compare these sales of mine with that average sales. And based on that, I can create some calculations and use it. Now in Power BI, those who work with it, there are different kinds of calculation you can create. Okay. There are calculated columns, or there are, different kinds of measures you can create. But for this thing, to achieve this thing, we'll create measures. Now, how you create measures? Very easy. So I'm not writing the measures from scratch, everyone. I'll show you what I have done and what measures I've written, what they do, and how we apply it here. So first thing, to get the average sales, I created a simple measure. Okay, I also created a total sales measure, which is like simply sum of my sales column. That's my total sales. And what we can do is, if we want, we can move that total sales here, if we want it to be like that. But yeah, I think it should be fine. Sales or total sales, it's okay. But yeah, I have just moved my measure there. And let's just go and I have to change my line. But that's fine. We'll just quickly add the line again. Average sales, that's fine. Quickly give the color. Sorry about that. I just changed it, but should be fine. Then we switch on the data label because we want to see the average value. Let's just keep it here this time. It's okay. Okay, so we got that average sales there. Now to get we got the total sales there. Now to get the average sales, what I did was I just created an average sale measure. Now what this average sale measure is doing, it's just calculating the average of sales within sales column. And then I'm trying to apply a context on it. Now, why I'm trying to apply a context on it? Because I really want this number to be a single number like this I get on this, default line that Power BI gives me. So for example, let's test this thing. Oh no, I clicked it back. Let's do that. I love this undo button in Power BI, by the way. I mess around with things a lot, and then this undo button just comes to rescue. So let's just see. So for example, on this table visual, what I have is, I'll get my date. Okay, I'll get my total sales. So it kind of tells me sales for every other day. Sorry, my machine is a little slow. Apologies for that. And then I get my monthly average sales. So that's my average sales. Oh, didn't that? Sorry. So that's my average sales there. So I can see that single number there, right? Now, why I see that single number? Because what Power BI did was when I created a calculation, this all function which I used, it kind of, avoids any kind of filter coming on the sales table. So that's why I end up getting this number. But suppose if I remove this, let's test it, what happens, okay? I'm just commenting the part of the measure and I'm just taking the average. Now, when I do that average, now this average value, oh, it is slow. Now this average value end up, modifying by the date, right? So it kind of changed for every other day, which we actually don't want. We actually want a single average value so that we can compare sales for that particular day with that single average value. So that's why using this all within the calculate function helped us. But yeah, as I said, not going in details, we are just seeing how we can leverage the benefit of these DAX measures within the visuals. Okay, so we got that value. Now the next thing comes, how we create a measure to compare our sales value, I mean the sales by date, to the average that we get, right? So again, we create another measure, okay? So for that, I created a measure as, I think this was the one. Yeah. So now what this measure is doing, so what I'm doing is, I showed you a total sales measure that I created, right? So I'm just simply comparing that measure with my average value that I got. And based on that, I'm just giving them a different color. So if my sales is greater than equal to my average sales, then give it a green color code. So this is just a green color hex code. So in Power BI, those who don't know, we can use hex codes to create these kind of, give these kind of color coding, but now you can also write the actual green or red, but I haven't tried that so far. I'm very much comfortable with using hex codes. So I use it, but it's up to everyone's, perspective, what they really want to do. And when my sales is actually less than my average sales, then give it a red color. Okay, I've got that measure sorted. That works fine. But now how do I use that actual measure within this chart so I can get the color coding sorted? So for that, what we'll do is, in Power BI, you go to the formatting options of that chart, go to the columns, and there's something called FX. And this FX function actually allows you to apply dynamic conditional formatting. Now, definitely, I'm not showing you the different formatting options, but there's a way to choose the measure for your conditional formatting in Power BI. And for that, you choose this field value option. Then you just go there and choose your measure, basically. So mine is the measure that we just created was sales dynamic data points, this one. And if I hit OK, you can see the sales for any day that were above the average have gone green, and that were below the average. And let me just do one more thing, switch on data label. So it will make things more clear. So anything that was below 1,816 pound have gone red, okay? And anything that is greater than 1,816 pound has gone green. Okay, it works, but our ultimate goal was to get a line chart, right? So now the second trick is convert this chart back to your line chart. The moment you convert it back to line chart, it retains the conditional formatting that you actually applied on your clustered column chart. But the moment you convert it back to line chart, it brings it back. So you can clearly see anything that was, sales for any day which was above our average sales has got a green data point, and anything that was less than average sales has got the red data point. So that was the first use case I wanted to cover. Let's go on the second. Are there any questions for us?
No questions so far.
Okay, cool. Let's go to the next use case, where I will be showing you something like, if you have, say, got a chart. Again, let's plot the same chart. Let's just not complicate things. Work with the same chart, but apply different functionalities. Again, what I'll do is get the clustered column chart, move my date there, and I don't want it to be in the hierarchy format, so I use it as date. And then I move my total sales column, which I have got here. So that's my total sales. And you can see it's again a simple chart where we have got the sales over time. Sorry, I think something came through me from you, Faraz. My throat is getting problematic now. Sorry, it was just a joke. Don't take it seriously.
No
So,
problem.
So yeah, this is basically the data labels we have got against different sales that we are representing. Okay, so this is what the sales values we have represented over time. Now, what I really want to do in this chart is, now if you can clearly see, the highest value in the whole chart that we have is 3,800 pound, and the lowest one is 800 pound. Now, somehow what I really want to bring in this chart is, I want to highlight the bar with the maximum sales value with green color and the bar with minimum sales value with her red color. Okay, very simple. Let's do again. Measures come to the rescue again. So what we'll do is, obviously, I want to do some kind of highlighting based on the max and minimum sales value. So the first thing comes to my mind is, I need a measure to calculate my max and minimum value, right? So again, whenever you're creating measure, do test them, okay? Because if you don't test them, you are not 100% sure whether they're working fine or they're working as expected, right? So let's again create a simple table. And what I'll do is, I'll move my date here, right? I'll move my total sales here. And let's see max and minimum sales, right? Now, max and minimum sales in the entire timeline will be only one, right? So the maximum, so if I sort this up, so my maximum sales is 3,800 pound and minimum is 800 pounds. So I want to create a measure which kind of gives me maximum sales as 3,800 and minimum sales as 800, right? So again, it's very simple. I created another measure for maximum sales, and this is again simple. I have just clubbed it into the calculate function, because calculate function allows me to apply some kind of context on the filtering. So I'm calculating maximum value on my sales column, and I just don't want it to be filtered by any external filters coming through. So that's why I used all. And now if I move this here, then I'll end up seeing a single value. My Power BI is dying. So I end up seeing only one single value for my maximum value, right? Similarly, I went and created minimum sales where I took the minimum sales, okay? And again, we'll move it to our visual and we have it here. Oh God, something is happening. Okay, so minimum sales is there. Now what we really want is, we want to compare this total sales by maximum and minimum sales and give them different coloring, right? So what I did was, again, I went and created another measure. So this is the sales dynamic color. Yeah, this measure. Now what this measure is doing, it's a simple if-else statement. Okay. So if my total sales is equal to maximum sales, then give it a green color basically. Okay. That's what it is happening. And if my total sales is less than my minimum sales, then give it a red color. And to the remaining bars, give it a blue color. Okay, that's what my measure is doing, because obviously on the chart that we just created, if I go back, okay, let the measure work. Okay, I think I need to close one of the files. One second.
Yeah, because maybe live streaming, it use a lot of resources.
Yeah, so I just closed one of the extra file I had opened. Okay, so this is the measure I created. Now, why I gave that extra color? Because I only want to highlight maximum bar with a color, minimum bar with a color, but rest of them with a different color, right? So now again, go to your chart. We have a measure. Go to the formatting option. Again, go to the columns. Go to this FX function so we can apply a dynamic conditional formatting. Again, select the field value option because it allows you to select your dynamic measure, and then just search for your measure. Sales dynamic color maximum. So max min bars. Okay. So that's the one. We click OK. Now, the moment we apply, you can see the sales with the maximum value has been given green color for that particular day. The one with the minimum value is red, and the rest of them have a blue color. So this kind of representation can really help with the analysis. If you're trying to present an analysis to the high stakeholders, or say you're trying to generate some weekly summary numbers or monthly summary numbers, then these kind of charts really give people a direct insight rather than going into the detail of the chart. If you just do these kind of highlighting, it just makes information easy for them to grab. So that's how you achieve this. And by the way, guys, all these tricks, what I'm showing you today is because of the Microsoft Power BI community that I've been on for years now, because people there go on asking these kind of questions. And then these tricks, what I'm showing you today, are actually solutions to some of the questions that I answered on the forum and got accepted. And then I just made those questions answers as a session for today. So yeah, that's why I say go and join certain forums, because you end up learning a lot with others. Okay, so let's go to the third trick. And any questions so far for us?
Yeah, there is a question in the chat.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Can you not use if statement and color code the max and min?
You mean directly in the same measure, right? Yeah, you can do that actually. You can actually create variables in your measure. So like, for example, I have independent measures for like max sales, but I could have created a variable for my max sales, right? Something like calculate max, if this is the question. So I could have written everything in a single measure. You're right. That is possible by the usage of variables within a measure. So you can definitely do that. If that's the question, you can do that by creating variables. So I could have done everything basically in this way. And then I would have used these variables within the comparison. So like, for example, let's see if this works. Oh God, if this doesn't work, then you guys will tell me, oh, she doesn't know anything. But let's see. So I created this variable here, and rather than using my measure, I actually use this variable here. I think it should work. Yeah, it worked. So yeah, you can basically create everything in a single measure rather than independent measures I created. But yeah, you need to use variables for that. And yeah, I actually, thanks for asking that question. Whenever you end up creating multiple measures, but if you can, club those measures together by using variables, then it is very good from performance point of view. But sometimes variables don't give you the intended results as well. So make sure if you're using variables in your measures, you end up testing them. If they work fine, then they're good to use. But sometimes I have seen variables don't give intended results that is expected. So yeah, so it's good from like, it gives you better readability. If someone sees your code, it's good for them to understand what it's doing. It's good from performance point of view as well. But sometimes it doesn't give the right result. So make sure you test everything whenever you're writing a measure. Sorry, was that the question? I mean, just type in chat if you want me to add anything or I misunderstood your question.
Yeah, I asked that question and you answered it. So yeah, all good.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's go to the next trick. Now, the next trick is, sorry, guys, I need to take a little water. So the next trick is more around, like, suppose, again, let's go to the same chart. Let's not complicate things, as I don't like to complicate things. So again, going to the same chart, creating the same clustered column chart for you, taking our date. Oh, did I create a table visual? Okay, something is really slow on my machine today, but let's see. Okay, so we'll create the same chart, the cluster column chart, where we'll represent our sales per day. So that's my date, and that's my sales there. Okay. Now, suppose if I want to add some kind of functionality, okay, where I really want the user to, select something in a filter or slicer. Like for example, if a user selects 4, then he should only be able to see the top 4 sales bar in this chart. If a user selects 10, then he or she should be able to select only he or she should only be able to see the top 10 sales bars in this chart. Now, how we give that capability in Power BI? Simple, we'll write few DAX measures and then, it will get working. So this is the simple chart again that we got. Now, one thing in Power BI is when you want user to interact with your visuals by giving them capability to, insert values or, like for example, they just want top 3 bars or top 5 bars. Then for that, you use parameters in Power BI, okay? And parameters I think few people are waiting in the room for us. So parameters basically allow users to enter a value, and based on that entered value, you can change the filtering on the visuals. Okay. Now it is very easy to create the parameters. I'll not be creating it because I've already created it, but I can show you. If you go to the modeling tab and create a new parameter, in this case, we want a numeric range parameter. And I want my parameter to start from 1 because I want to show at least 1 bar in my chart. It will increment by 1, and you can set the maximum value up to where you want, like anything. And then just hit create. And once you hit create, something like this gets selected in your created in your Power BI, and you can so like for example something like this. So it will just create a parameter, and when you create a parameter, what Power BI does is it also creates it as a slicer. So when user enters something, then he or she is interacting, and based on that your report visuals changes. Okay, so that was the first thing we wanted to create, like how the user is going to select like how many bars they want to see. So that's what we have created. But now we want to make this working, right? So again, it's the same thing. What we'll do is we'll create few measures now. So first thing, what I really want is, let me get a table visual here so we understand what we are doing here. So this table visual, again, we'll move the same values. I'll get my date. That's my date. And date, and then I've got my total sales. Now, first thing, what I would really like to understand is somehow, want to rank these sales. Like, for example, the maximum sales should have a rank 1, and the second highest should have rank 2, and so on. I'll tell you why I went through this approach, okay? So first, to create a rank measure, what I did was I just created a measure called rank by sales, okay? And what this measure does is, let me just make it a little clear. Just give it proper indentation. So what this rank measure is basically doing, it's kind of giving rank to your sales value based on the total sales. So if there's a highest sales, then it will get rank 1, second highest will get rank 2, and so on. And rank function is very simple. I just don't want this rank to change. That's why I've used all function, as we have seen in other measures before. And I'm creating my rank on this. I want it to be in descending order. So maximum should have rank 1, second maximum should have rank 2, and so on. And I'm using a dense because if there are overlapping ranks, I don't want to have same ranks, duplicate ranks. So if something like, for example, if there is same amount of sales for 2 days, I don't want them to have same rank. I just want them to have the next rank. That's why I'm using dense. You can read about ranks function more on the DAX documentation. You'll get all details about it. So I created this rank function, and I'll move it and show you what it's actually doing. So when I moved it, and let me just sort it. So the day with the maximum rank has been given rank 1, then second highest is given 2, and then so on. And the minimum one has been given rank 14. That's fine. We have got the rank function, but now it doesn't solve our job. It kind of just gives me the rank, like, okay, it's just ranking my sales over time. But how do I use it here, right? So for that, what I did was I just created another measure so that I can somehow use user input from this parameter with this rank by sales and try to implement something on my visual so that it kind of changes. So what I did was I created another measure. Yeah, so this is the measure name. And now what this measure is actually doing. So if my rank is less than number of parameters selected by the user, let me just put it here so we can see these things. Yeah. So if my rank is less than equal to the number of parameters selected in this, user input, then give it a green color, else give it a red color. Now why I have been doing this? Okay, let's try it because it will actually make you understand more why this expression or if else statement is written. So for that, what I'll do is I'll go to my visual again. And let's apply conditional formatting there. Again, we'll go to the formatting option, go to the column, conditional formatting, and we want to use the dynamic measures. And then I'll select my measure there in this folder. This is sales dynamic color display bars, yeah. And click OK. So now when I selected 5 in my parameter window, it kind of highlighted only 5 bars, okay? One other thing what we can do is give them some data labels, okay? And now suppose, so what it is actually doing, when I selected 5, it kind of compared it with the rank that I have got against every other sales. If my rank is less than equal to 5, it means the top 5 basically. And it kind of displayed those two, gave different color coding to those top 5 ranked sales and gave them green color. That's how that works. So if I change it to 4, then it will change. 1 second. Yeah, so it will change and so on. So if I select 3, it will just highlight my 3 bars as green. So top 3 sales bar as green and rest of them as red. And if I select like 6, then top 6 sales bar as green and rest of them as red. So this this is just a way like how you can use a user input given by a user, and based on that, you can make them interact with the visual. But yeah, this solution can be used in many ways, not just this way. This is just one way how you can, make use of the parameters and some kind of ranking on a visual to give some kind of, conditional formatting. But I'm sure there could be multiple different, use cases people can come up with, and based on that, you can implement similar kind of solution. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, let's go to.
I can see there's one question from Pratibha.
Yeah, sure.
The sales columns have many data like example sales organization, sales price, sales member. How do we get the sales organization from the sales column and show on the bar chart?
1 second. Where is that question? I missed how many columns. Okay, if sales column has sales table, I guess. Sales table has many data like sales organization, sales price, sales member, etc. How do we get sales organization from sales column? Sorry, what do you mean by that?
Pratibha, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, if you can, please.
Actually, there's a table. Let's say, for example, any table name. So in that table name, we have a column. So under column itself, there are many data inside that. Data set is huge. So one is a sales column. In that, I have like sales.organization also.
Is it a hierarchy?
Yes, hierarchy.
I'm not sure about how your column structure is defined in your
For
data.
example, I'll rephrase it again. For example, say we have a action as a column name. Under action, I have a create, merge, delete, pull request. So these are the different data available under action. So I cannot pull action itself in the bar chart, right? So how I can get only the pull request or create? Like create would be.
I'm not sure about the way hierarchies are done in your case, but suppose if you have certain kind of hierarchies in your data, like for example, let's create this simple. Let me see if I've got a test data in this file. Okay, let's create a fake hierarchy maybe. I mean, yeah, I because I want to understand what kind of hierarchies you're talking about. Let's do one thing. I'll create a hierarchy here. And what we'll do is, and that hierarchy will currently have branch in it. And what I'll do is I'll move city to it. And let me move gender as well to it. I mean, if you want different levels, we can have 3 things in there. I mean, I don't know what data will come out of it, but yeah, just trying to create some fake data here. So is this the kind of hierarchy you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, on the chart, I guess there's a way to drill down to these hierarchies. So what you do is, for example, let's see if it works. I mean, I'm not sure if I did this or created it, but let's see. So if I suppose move my branch hierarchy to x-axis, it kind of moves all the 3 intermediate levels, right? And now suppose if I want to, do I have sales? Okay, let's move total price here. Okay, we end up seeing total price by different. Now when you see the hierarchy here at the x-axis, it kind of shows you all the 3 things. So A is basically my branch name, Yangon is the city name, and female is the gender, right? But suppose if you just want to end up seeing gender here, if you remove this here, you'll end up seeing just gender there. Okay, so that's how you tweak the hierarchy. But in the underlying data, your branch hierarchy still has all those 3 columns in there. But on your chart, you're just using gender out of it.
Okay.
Is this what you were looking for?
Yeah, almost exactly to this. Okay, let's create a table there now. Just pull in a table.
Sorry, what do you mean by pull in a table?
How
can I pull?
From the visual,
You mean the table visual?
Yeah. Yeah, just create one column as action.
Sorry, create a column as action. What do you mean by action?
Anything, any column you can add there. Anything, any column.
Okay.
Okay. Can we take date instead of custom type? Date. Yeah. How do you segregate all, like, to get the year and 1 year?
You're cracking. Can you say that again? What you want now? Do you want just year and month there?
Yes.
Yeah, so just cross these here. I just want year and month. It will give me just year and month. Okay. Yeah. Is your question answered? Can I move forward? Okay, cool. Something out of the session, but yeah, glad it answered your question. Okay. So let's move to, okay, Faraz, how much time do I have to speak?
You still have like another 30 to 40 minutes. No problem.
I'll try to finish this in next 15 minutes. Let's see how it goes. Okay. Because I want to cover all the use cases. They're pretty good tricks. So really excited to show it to you guys. I don't know if you guys use it or not, but yeah, I really want to show it. So let's crack on. But yeah, do tell me if there are any questions, right? I'm happy to answer if I can answer those questions. Okay, so our next trick is by the way, again, guys, one more thing. The PowerPoint is something I'll share it with Faraz. And if you go into the PowerPoint, I've actually shown you the detailed description around every other use case, the measure it has used, and tried to add some comments around them. So yeah, this should be with you. So yeah, don't worry about the explanations and other things. So I'll share the Power BI file along with the presentation deck to Faraz, so he can share it with you guys. Okay, so the next one is dynamic bar colors for current and previous year. Okay, now this is, let's create the chart again. So we go and create this clustered column chart again. Seems like clustered column chart seems to be my favorite visual. I keep on using it for most of the sessions I do. Let's have the date there again. And okay, let's just have year quarter here. Okay, now the last question the lady asked, I just want year and quarter. So I've got year and quarter here. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll just move the total sales again, as usual. That's my total sales. And I can see year and quarter. Okay. And it's drilled down to my lowest category hierarchy, basically. Okay, so I've got my sales by different year quarter, and what I will, it's already, ordered by that because I'm using the date. Okay, now what I really want to do here is, suppose if I have a filter where I have just got year and quarter value, and now suppose if I select in that filter, say 2022 quarter 2. Now, the moment I select 2022 quarter 2 in that filter, what I really want on this visual is I want this visual to color code the quarter I have selected for the year and the same quarter for the previous year. Okay, this is what we really want to achieve in this use case. Now, the reason why this thing I'm trying to show here is there could be scenarios where you really want to do quarter to quarter comparison between years on your visuals in a Power BI report. So this kind of conditional formatting can help you do that. Like, for example, my 2023 quarter 1 has got, say, X amount of sales. But how much was it in my 2022 quarter 1? So if I want to compare those two quarters from different years, then I can use this kind of, solution for it. So let's see how we achieve this. And what I'll do is I've also got a quarter here in my, already created. I'll just use that for simplicity. And what I'll do is I'll also sort this by your quarter. You can use the date. It will work as well, but I'm just using this for now. Okay. Now, to achieve this functionality, the first thing I did was I made the use of disconnected table in Power BI. Now, a disconnected table in Power BI is something. Now, in Power BI, when you bring so much of data for a single report, you may end up creating relationships between them and end up with a data model, right? But sometimes there are certain tables which don't have relationship with any other tables in your data modeling side, right? So those kind of tables are called disconnected table, but they can be really a strong thing that you can use in your Power BI report to, apply different kind of functionalities. Now, what I did to achieve this functionality was I created a simple year quarter table, and what it has got is I just created it out of my sales table, basically. Okay, removed every other column, just kept year quarter and gave it an index based on the order of the year and quarter. Okay, that's why my year quarter, so that they can be, easily ordered. Now, the first thing what I really want to do is I want a slicer here. So first I'll create a slicer, and in this slicer, I'll put my year quarter column, because that's what I really want. I want user to select something from here. So for example, if the user selects quarter 1, 2020, on this chart, I want the bar for quarter 1, 2020 to be highlighted along with quarter 1 for 2019. Okay, that's what we want to achieve. And yeah, you could have achieved this maybe from the same table as well, but I somehow went for the disconnected table because the use case that I was given on Power BI forum, the user was actually using a disconnected table for some other reason. So I actually used the disconnected table he mentioned. So that's why I'm using it here. Now here I want to, somehow highlight the current year quarter sales and the same quarter from the previous year sales bar on the chart. So for that, what I will do is first I have to create some kind of, measures for current year, quarter sales and previous year quarter sales. So there could be ways of doing it, but what I actually did is something this. So what I did was first I created a measure called selected quarter year. Okay. And what this is simply doing, it's just selecting value from my year quarter column. Okay, that disconnected table that I created. Very simple. That's what this function does. Okay. Then the next measure, what I did was, now once I have my current year selected, then I want my previous year as well. So I created another measure, And what this measure is doing is it's kind of taking the selected quarter. Now, selected quarter will always be my current quarter, right? Because that's what I'm basing my current quarter on. So I want to have somehow the previous quarter. Now, this previous quarter, there could have been ways of creating it, but somehow in my disconnected table, my year quarter column is a text type. So I had to go by some kind of text transformation to retrieve the previous year, same quarter value. Okay. So now there are left and right functions in Power BI. They could be pretty strong. I'm not explaining them because I don't have that much time today. But this measure ends up giving me a previous year quarter. I can show it to you. So what we do is, again, I create a simple table so that we understand what we have done. So this is a simple table where I will put all my year quarter, from my disconnected table, sorry, year quarter from my disconnected table. Okay, I've selected that. Okay, but let's put everything in there. Okay, and let's move the measures that we just created. So one was for selected year quarter. Now, currently we haven't selected anything, so it is same, right? But let's see the previous year quarter measure that we created, what it ends up giving. So if we see this one, so you see, for quarter 1 2019, it ends up giving me quarter 1 for 2018. So basically same quarter for current year or the year on that certain data point, and the same quarter for the previous year. So for example, if I now select quarter 2 2021, so my selected quarter is quarter 2 2021, and the previous year quarter will be quarter 2 from the previous year, which is 2020. So our measures work. Okay. Now, the main thing is how we use these measures to give that kind of conditional formatting in this chart. So for that, the final measure that I created was this selected quarter-based color. Now, what this measure is doing, I'm just selecting the maximum value from my sales table year quarter. You remember we have got a date column and year quarter in the actual table from where this chart is created. And then what I'm doing is I'm just writing a simple if-else statement. So if my, selected year quarter or the previous year quarter, I'm in the quarter year, basically, this one. So whatever is in my table, so if against that value, if any of these quarters are selected, the current year one or this one, previous year one, then give them a certain color, else give them a different color. Okay. Now I'll just try to put this in the conditional formatting here. So if I go to this one, if I go to this formatting option, go to this one, and just select my measure that I just created. And the measure name was selected quarter-based color. So what this will end up doing now is, so 1 second, let's just put this little up. So what this ended up doing was, when I select something from my disconnected tables column, right? So I'm making use of a disconnected table here, but you could have used the same from the table. But whatever I select in the slicer, so when I end up selected 2021 quarter 2, I see a different color is represented for quarter 2 2021, the selected one, and the exact quarter from the previous year. So these kind of comparisons can be really helpful when you're comparing current year with the previous year, and you just want to give user a direct view on the things like how things have been in the previous year at the same quarter, or same month, or same data or same date when compared to the same year, right? Current year. So these kind of functionalities can be used there. This is just a way of depicting how you can leverage use of it, but this is achievable. So this was the another use case. Now, the next one that I wanted to show is, this is something I have seen multiple times people posting about it on Power BI forum. Now, for example, I've got a basic table, okay, and what this table is doing, it's kind of just showing some kind of summary of the products, right? So I've got year, month going on, then I've got different products going on. Then I've got the total quantities that were ordered for those products, and how much was total price against different products for that different, year, month. That's what. It's a simple table visual. And then on the right, what I have got, I've just got a simple slicer where I can select the product line I want to see data for. So like, for example, if I select fashion accessories, I see data for fashion accessories. If I select health and beauty, I go and see data for health and beauty. If I do multiple selects, then I end up seeing food, beverages, and health beauty data. And if I go on adding other, I'll see the other product lines data as well. But sometimes what customer wants is whatever selection they are making here in this slicer, they want that selection to be seen somewhere on the report. Now, there are ways of doing it. You can create a card visual and try to display the selections there. But how about displaying the selections in your title? Now, for example, whatever you select in this filter, it kind of doesn't change your title, right? What if you can add the selection to the title itself so that it will just make, it may just make customers' life easy. Like, for example, when I don't select anything, I see summary of products from every other product line. But suppose if I select food and beverages, then it will be really great if customer can see here like summary of products, food and beverages. If I select, say, health and beauty, then it's good for customers to see summary of products, food and beverages, and health and beauty. So it kind of gives them more, understanding on what kind of data is getting displayed on your visual once you start interacting with the report using this slicer and or filter, right? So let's see how we can, do that. Again, it's a single measure, okay? I just created a single measure for this. So let's look at the measure. This is conditional time. Okay, so this is the measure I created. Now here in this measure, I made use of variables, okay? Rather than creating multiple measures, I created just, variables and just used them in the same measure. Now, let me know if it is, visible enough. So what this measure is basically doing is, in the first variable, what I'm literally doing is I'm just extracting all the unique product line values, which is actually serving as the filter for me. Then the second one is just, counting if the number of products that I've selected in the slicer, basically how many selections I've made in the slicer. Okay. And then in the end, I'm just returning the overall title by comparing the selection. So somehow I'm making use of concatenate function here with concatenate X. Okay. So just understand the if condition here. Okay. Now what the first condition is doing, if I haven't selected anything in my slicer, okay, then the title should always be summary of products. But once I start selecting or once I adding any values in the slicer, then I want summary of product line to be concatenated with all the values that I select in the slicer. So for example, if I select 1, then this title should be summary of product line electronic accessories. If I select food and beverages, this title will be summary of products, product line, electronic accessories, and food and beverages. But let's see how this is applied. Again, go to the visual. Now, in this case, we want to add dynamic title, okay? So we need to apply that conditional formatting or dynamic formatting to your title. So go to the title section, and well enough in Power BI, we can actually add dynamic title. So go there. And again, obviously, it's based on the field value. So what I'll do is I'll just select my measure, click OK. Okay, so now, when I haven't selected anything in my slicer, it shows summary of products. Now let's see. When I select health and beauty, it says summary of product line, health and beauty. Now, suppose if I make another selection, it says summary of product line, sports and travel, health and beauty. If I further go and make selections, then it will keep on adding it to my title here. So that's how, you can actually add dynamic titles to your visuals just to give, more visibility or more clarity to the users who are going to use your reports. And it's kind of a very good thing. I mean, it's not just about title. You can actually display it as a single, text value at the top. So, the users know like what kind of selections have been going on the certain report page. So you can use these kind of measures to do this, add this kind of dynamicity to your reporting. Okay. I think there are two more use cases. Let's just go through them quickly, okay? Now, and then I'll take questions. Let me just finish just two more use cases. They're pretty simple. Now, the next one is how do we add, dynamic color to the card visual based on slicer selection? Now, this is again very easy. It's very much similar to what we have seen so far. So, for example, I have got again a table, say a status table. And in this status table, ignore this icon column. I've just got a column called value, and it has got 3 values. Now, what I really want in this is, it's very simple in a way. Like, for example, I've got this as a slicer, and now suppose if I create, why did I delete it? But it's fine. If I create a card visual, move this value in there, status, and move this value in there. And now whenever I'll make any selections in my slicer, based on that, it will change, right? So for example, if I select off, it will show me off. If I select inactive, this is basic interaction in Power BI, right? But now suppose if I want to give this, some kind of coloring, like for example, if I select on, I want it to show as green. If it is inactive, it should be amber. If it is off, then it should be red. Then how we do that? Again, simple measure. So I just created a simple measure, which kind of, gives different coloring to your visual. Now, in this case, you can give coloring to your text as well, or you can give color to the background as well. I'll show you both things. And it's very easy. It's kind of taking the input of the value that you're selecting in the slicer, and then just a simple switch statement to see if my input is on, then give it a green shade. If it is off, give it a red shade, else give it a orange shade or amber shade. Now, how we apply it on card visual is go to the card visual, go to the value, because this is the call out value that's displayed. Currently, it has got black color. We can make it dynamic. So again, same window, same things. We'll just go and select card color. Right, so card color. And if I hit OK, then it kind of changes. So for example, when I hit on, then it is green. If it is off, then it is red. And if it is inactive, it is orange. And similarly, if you want to apply, say, background color to the card visual based on this kind of, selection, then again, you can do the same thing. Same card, I've got the same value in it. But now, rather than changing the text color, I want the background color. So again, what you can do is go to the general settings, format settings. In the effects, there's something called background, go to the background. And in the background, we'll apply the same dynamic functionality, right? So this is card color and apply. So it will change the background color. Now just to make the background color look better, because the black doesn't look that great. So what I'll do is I'll just change the, I'll just change the color of the call out value to white. So it kind of shows that value in the right way. So for example, inactive, off, and on. So that's the basic, dynamic color functionality you can use, and very simple basic measure on it. Now, the last use case that I want to show is how to basically display, maximum minimum value on a line. And it's a combo chart basically. This is a line clustered column chart. And what I really want is I want my lines to be represented in the same way for every other data point. So like, for example, on this chart. So this is a line and clustered column chart. So on this chart, what I have represented so far is there are two things. One is total sales against every date, and one is total gross sales. Okay. So those are the two things I've represented here. And what I want in this chart is my line chart should represent everything, but my bars should only represent the maximum and minimum value. So my bars are representing total sales, and line chart is representing total gross sales. So what I want is, I want my gross sales to be like same for every other data point. But when I want to represent my total sales, I just want to represent the maximum and minimum sales. Okay. So how we do that here is, again, there is a simple measure I created. And it's very similar. I mean, very similar functionality, very similar way of doing things. But let me just see what measure name I created. So this is a sales dynamic maximum minimum bar measure. And yeah, this is the same max sales and minimum sales I used. So what I did was basically, if my total sales, okay, is equal to the max sales, or total sales is equal to the minimum sales, I want to highlight it with a different color. And to the rest of the bars, I want to give a white color. The reason I opted for white color is so that it kind of shows me those bars are hidden. And why I chose white is because in my reporting theme, my background color is white. So if in your reporting theme, your background color is say black, you'll have to put black here so that the additional bars are hidden. You only end up seeing the maximum and minimum sales bar here. So again, the same thing, go to the visual. We'll go to the columns, again, apply the dynamic functionality there and field value. And this is sales dynamic, sales dynamic color display maximum bars. Okay. So yeah, that's how it works. So basically I end up seeing the gross sales, but still for the total sales, I only see the minimum and max sales bar. And the other bars still are there. Like you can see the tooltips, right? For them. The only thing is we gave them white colors. And if you switch off the tooltip, yeah, it might. Yeah, maybe this tooltip is literally messing around here because there are already bars, just that they are given white color, but the tooltip still works there. So yeah, maybe something needs to work out furthermore on this solution. But yeah, this is how you can get, this kind of thing implemented in Power BI using DAX measures. Okay, so I think this was the last use case that I really wanted to cover. And yeah, I'm happy to take any questions now. I mean, hopefully you guys learned something new today by, especially how you can, make use of these, simple DAX measures and, make your reports more powerful and enrich them more from the visual point of view. So yeah, Faraz, if there are any questions, I'm happy to take any questions now.
Yeah, there are like requests been asked that where can we find a data set, some real case data set. There's been question been asked and somebody answered in the chat also that Maven is a nice place where you can get some nice data set. Do you recommend any more of them where we can find it out?
Yeah, I think, yeah, like Kaggle. Did someone mention Kaggle? Right, someone mentioned Kaggle, right? Kaggle is a pretty good place. I have been taking so many data from there, but there are other places as well. Like for example, if you go to, one second, let me find that for you. There is a public data set repository where you can see real data sets, basically, like for example, CO2 emission data set and those kind of things. Yeah, so this is an open data website. I can put that in the chat if that's okay. So people can actually go there and, retrieve some kind of real world data set. So like, for example, CO2 emission data set or solar energy related data set or population related data set, and then, start working on them and, trying to generate those kind of insights.
Perfect. So I'm just checking some chat over here and there's a question here that I posted over here. Okay, is there a way that two Power BI developers can work simultaneously on a Power BI report? Any external tool that can help to push both the changes on the same report?
No, you have to somehow collaborate because you can never push multiple changes done by different developers to the same PBIX file. You'll have to somehow collaborate, put the changes in a single file, and then republish it.
Okay.
I mean, until and unless anyone here knows it. I've never done that, and I don't know how to do that. And yeah, based on my understanding, there's no way of doing it on a single PBIX file.
Great. Okay, there's a question in the chat. How to format a date? It's mentioned in the chat. If you don't mind looking, Pragati, the last question from Pratibha.
Oh yeah, it's. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of data you have got, but For example, I don't think I've got the good date example.
Using a measure, that would be a format.
Yeah, definitely. So when you see the date formats in Power BI, what you can do is, for example, let's take this sales table that I've been using, right? This date column. At the top, there's a format option on the top ribbon, and you can format it the way you want it to be. So I'm not sure if in the underlying data you have got data, your date values in that format, and you want to bring it to something like this, then you can directly do it. But suppose if you don't have any formats mentioned here and you want your date to be in that format, then you'll have to create custom date formats in Power BI. Then again, there are ways of doing it. I can share some examples if that's fine, rather than doing it here, because it's more around writing DAX and converting them into those custom formats. So there's a format function which you can use by writing a measure and then getting those dates converted to the respective format. And even in Power Query Editor, there are ways to change your date formats. Sorry, my Power BI is literally dying today. But let's see. This is, let's see if we get that. Okay, it's loading. But yeah, in Power Query, there are ways of doing it. Even you right click on your column and then you can change the data formats. But if you want the customized date formats, then you can look for this article, maybe custom data formats.
Cool.
It again is something you'll have to create calculations, basically. You just can't do it on the fly.
Yeah. Okay, so Pragati, I think we will end the session from YouTube Live, but we'll be still holding ourselves back on Zoom. And thank you, Pragati, for coming and giving such a lovely session on Power BI. It's a great place, where we meet, we share, and we exchange the knowledge of different products, how they can collaborate and how they can work together.
Yeah.
And this is actually the beauty of all the meetups, I would say. London meetup,
Yeah, definitely.
Toronto.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not only a meetup in Saudi Arabia, but this is a lovely place, where people are coming and sharing their knowledge. And I'm being very proud people are coming and joining here. So
yeah, and definitely it's always not like the speaker shares knowledge. It's many times the audience also shares knowledge, because most of the times, I think 80-90%, I end up learning something new from the audience. And I'm like, oh, I haven't tried that before. Seriously, does this work in Power BI? It's like that for me. Like most of the time, literally people tell me, oh yeah, Pragati, there's a way of doing it. And I'm like, oh, I literally don't know how to do that. So it's like, really good. It's like a good way of sharing knowledge. It's not, I think whenever there's a session, I say it's not just like speaker's responsibility. It's more like audience also come and share their knowledge. So that's a good thing. I think I like that the most. Yeah.
So I think Saad, he would just like to say something. Saad has raised up his hand. Saad, please feel free to unmute yourself.
Oh, thank you so much. And so sorry for my language is not very well, but it's first time. It's first time here, and definitely not the last. Thanks for us, and thanks. Sorry, Pragati. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'm just asking if you back just for the function. You are using the function all. I mean, is that compulsory? Is that I have to use it?
No,
or just,
no, it's not. No, it's not compulsory. Definitely, I just used it because I was trying to create the calculation in that way. So if you go and start looking at the different DAX functions, it's not just all there. There's so much into it. All selected, key filters, all except. I think I just know these many functions, guys, but there are so many else going on there. But yeah, I just used all because I didn't want any, external filter to change my value. I just wanted a single value around the entire data set. So that's why I went and used the all function. So if you read about the all DAX function, you'll understand why it is used there. I'll share the PBIX file so you can actually play around with it. Try to change it by using all selected, maybe select some columns, all except maybe, and see how the calculation changes, because that's how it will help you understand what's basically going on.
Clear. Thank you so much again. Thanks for your help.
Pleasure.
And hope to see you again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely.
Bye.
And And so once I have the file, I'll place it on the YouTube link itself only, so people
Yeah, sure.
can easily grab the file, and I'll just notify it in the Meetup chat area. So we'll be signing out right now from YouTube Live. We'll be ending the live streaming. But as I told you, Pragati, before the session,
Oh God.
okay, now it's the time. Okay, so this Pragati, usually whenever speakers are there, um, at the end of the session, you can say any kind of thoughts from Steve Jobs or your own thoughts or any kind of a
Oh
quote,
God.
or you wanted to say anything, a last message, to everybody, and then we can stop the live streaming on YouTube. This is for all your followers, your friends, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being
Anything
on.
what
I'm being
pop in your
honest. I
mind.
literally don't remember these quotes which these big people write, but I believe in something which I can say. Like, I mean, based on my experiences in the industry, for me it's been like little hard. But I always tell people, like, never stop dreaming about things. Okay, because I mean, I'm not here to tell my story, but the place I come from, we are not allowed to dream things. So never stop dreaming. Always try to work towards your dream, because people say your dreams are not achievable, but I definitely believe in you need to, show them actions rather than telling them in words. So definitely work hard towards your dream. One day you will definitely get there. That's why I always say, I mean, keep learning, keep exploring, keep sharing your knowledge, keep making these kind of amazing connections, because in this community, you have so much support. I have got so much support with the people like Faraz here. I mean, there are many people behind my speaking journey. So never stop believing in yourself. Just do whatever you like. One day you will achieve it. Definitely, there are times. Sometimes it is hard. Sometimes you get things very easily, but you really need to go through those hard times, because they'll make you learn the best thing of your life. So yeah, never stop dreaming. Go for your goals. You will achieve them. Definitely achieve them.
Lovely, Pragati. Pragati. Thank you so much. And do let us know in the comments later on the LinkedIn. We're going to post it. Feedback of your session is very important for us. And signing off from YouTube Live. Take care. Bye. And see you next for the next session.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
YouTube Live. Please